All right, let's call our board meeting to order here at 7 o'clock, Wednesday, May the 14th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Owen Costanza.
Here.
Sine Hubbard.
Here.
Jeff Goings.
Here.
Mark Vance.
Here.
Dan Sheik.
Here.
Dave Allgood.
Here.
Christy Richardson. Here. Chris Hopkins.
Here.
Aaron Zito.
Here. I know, technically he's not here yet.
Let's have the stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No phone participation. Do we have? Motion by Owen. Jeff, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Do we have a motion to discuss and approve meeting minutes from April 9th, 2025, board meeting minutes, please?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Mark, second by Owen. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes have been passed for April 9th, 2025. Do we have a motion to discuss and approve meeting minutes from April 16th, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting?
Second.
Motion by Owen. Second by Dan. Any changes, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes from April 16th, 2025 passes. Comments?
I have not received the sheet.
Unfinished business. Discuss and approve tree quote for replacement tree of North Boone Fire District 3 property. Do we have a motion?
Motion. Move to discuss.
Yes.
Motion to discuss. Jeff? Jeff, do you want to?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything back from the firemen. I believe they're meeting around third week of this month. So what we did is, if you don't know, me and Chrissy went to their last meeting, and I asked for them to meet us somewhere in the middle. David got 3 quotes, presented them with the information that David did with quotes. David also explained to them that, you know, he apologized for taking the tree down. The tree was diseased with north mold, black mold.
It had black mold
Black
spores on it, and
So David removed the tree. It was right out here, right outside the door here. For years, we probably thought those were our trees. In order to determine whose trees they would be, to have everything resurveyed, because David searched for pins and found none. There'd be about $2,000 possibly or more to get a survey done. Either we could ask them to do it, have their property surveyed to show us that they are their trees, or we could do it to show that they are our trees. So what I asked them to do, one of the trees, they had a little discussion. Mr. Guthrie, the president of their board, said he would like to have them discuss it, do their own research on the tree. I asked them to meet us somewhere because I don't think it was necessary. They wanted a full tree replaced. The tree was about $1,600. 14 to 16 foot tree was about $1,400, somewhere in that ballpark. And then that would also need to be third party transplanted because we don't have a spade or a system to do that. So you're probably talking between another $1,000 to $1,500 there. So you're looking at like $3,000 that they had a little discussion. They did have two people say, oh yeah, let's go with that quote, that was the highest quote. I asked them, I was there for doing due diligence for taxpayers' money. We thought it was our tree. I mean, technically, David has every right. He's certified. All of our guys are certified to remove any deceased trees in our village. So we could say, well, sorry, we took the tree down. It was dead. It was diseased. We did you a favor. We removed it. We hauled away at our expense. Or I'm trying to get them to meet us in the middle. I don't think it's necessary to buy it. Spend $3,000 on a tree. The trees grow between 1.5 to 2 feet a year. We could do a 6 or 8 foot tree within a few years, it'd be almost caught up to the other ones. So that's where that is. Mr. Guthrie, the president of the North Boone 3 board, said that they want to do their own research and he would reach out to me. I'm gonna go to their next meeting and I want to hear what they have to say about it and see what they come up with, and then I'll report it back to you guys next month. I forgot to ask Chrissy to put that in the package. David did a nice thing. I'll get that in the next board packet for you that David put together for them, and Mr. Guthrie, you can recognize that was a nice presentation that I did to their board, and I think he was the one that seen that, yeah, let's look at this, because it's a lot of money for a tree that when we could replace any size tree. If I was my way, I would put a 3 foot tree because then it would grow. You know, it's gonna get there. I just didn't think it was due diligence for us to spend that kind of money of taxpayers' dollars when we did the due diligence of removing the tree, all in the way disposing of. So that's where this is, and then next month I'll report back. Mr. Guthrie said he'd reach out to me, but I'll be at the next meeting so I can know exactly what they're doing. And I'll report back next month about it. So you guys think about it, and I'll make sure I have that in the packet so you have a better understanding about it. I thought this was gonna hold over to next month, but it's on here, so we're discussing it. So we won't take it, I'm gonna ask that we don't take any action tonight, and then I'll get that, we got another month, so I'll make sure that's in the next packet for you. Yes.
So as of today, we have not determined exactly where the property line is.
According to GIS mapping, the property line's about 2 to 3 feet inside back towards our building.
Okay,
We just don't have any factual data outside of GIS
GIS
mapping.
could be out as much as 3 meters or 9 feet. Have we explored the option of reaching an offer of compromise with them? I mean, we're talking $2,000 a survey or a $3,000 tree. Can we get to a position where we can hit an offer of compromise with maybe splitting it down the middle?
That's what I just was explaining. They want to review everything that I brought them. And then they will do their own research and review of it. And then they would reach out to me, but like I said, I will be at the next meeting. And then he would let me know what they determine, but like I just said, I will be there. I presented everything to them. And I also pointed out that for the last, how many years have we been?
As long as I've been here.
Forever, we've been mowing 10 feet to the north of the trees, assuming they were ours.
Did they thank us?
And, no, they didn't think so. But I did point that out. I said, we thought they were ours. We've always mowed 10 feet to the north of those trees. So, like I said, there's an option. Either we could ask you, I did ask them if they could, please present me their landscape plan for where they put the station in or when they put the tower in. So I have to see if they give me that. I will remind and ask them.
I could not find that information, and the landscaping aspect is not on the village hall prints.
Right.
And there was no numbers to go off of as far as the actual property line
Right.
on those prints.
I just don't want to see us realistically arguing with our neighbor, spending $2,000 unnecessarily on a survey. Somebody wind up buying a $2,000 tree, and here we are, we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
The other quotes, I did give them some other quotes, so I reached out to a few different nurseries around here, J. Carlson, Ack, and Myers Tree were the most responsive of those. Myers and J. Carlson had that 14 to 16 foot range that the fire department had quoted from, Breezy Hill Nursery. They also have trees in the 6 to 8 foot range, and those range from anywhere between, I think, $556 to $720. So, you know, about a little less than half the size tree, about half the cost.
Yeah, I believe there's gotta be an economic and civil way to solve it, so that was my thought, thank you.
Also, I point out to them, when you transplant that size of a tree, it's a 50-50 gamble if it's gonna survive.
Yes.
So I did point that out to them as well. So I'm gonna let them do the research, I'm gonna go to their meeting, and like I said, I'll report back to you guys next month. Or June 11th. Well, I'll make a motion to lay it over to, is that it?
Yes, June.
Okay.
Someone's got a comment.
So there's a tree week 2025, Chris. The trees right along the walking path, right? Those trees?
No, right here.
No, right here along the side of the
Where
building.
people play and walk and things. I mean, technically, it's kind of in a right of way where people use the park there. I mean, we're spending an awful lot of resources. I mean, we got our public works director chasing down quotes for a disease tree that we took down.
I mean, it was definitely
Oh, we're
diseased.
sending it.
Yeah.
But my God, we're sending, trustees to board meetings and people are getting quotes and, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, come on. I mean, not like we maliciously did anything.
No, but we actually probably helped prevent
Yeah.
the spread of a problem.
Yes.
And yes, we're gonna, there's gonna be some neighborhood disputes, be it, municipalities, organizations, or be it private property, these things happen. But we need to find a civil and economic way of resolving it without spending more payroll money and wasting more time and getting more people fired up about it. We just need to resolve the issue and come to a compromise with them. That's real.
We came in here guns blazing, so.
Yes, I did.
They can come in guns blazing, doesn't mean we need to react.
We came in, we jumped. We sent this work here around, we got other things to do. We do.
I was just gonna say, I did point out that David did reach out to, DJ, and he did reach out to Gail, and he had no response. That's what got me involved in it. And I did reach out
Thanks
to
for calling.
Gail. Yeah, I did reach out to Gail on April 5th, and he got back to me right away. I told him they were coming to me and stuff. So I got it, I'll handle it, and I'll bring back and I'll report to you guys. And then, I'll see what they say, and I'll let you know what they say, and then we'll make our decision.
Any other discussion?
You need a second for your motion?
Got your motion, Jeff, for?
I did, yeah, motion to move to June. I'll lay it over till June 11th.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dan Sheik,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Mark Vance,
Yes.
Jeff Going,
Yes.
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard.
And Chrissy, could you do me a favor? Could you give her a copy?
Oh, the packet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brian,
I made a note.
to them.
New business. Number 4, discuss approve resolution 2025-02, resolution appointing Sanowski and Zero LLP as village attorney for the village of Poplar Grove.
Second.
Motion by Owen. Second. I heard Dan on my other side.
Same.
Nay? All right, say good in there. Any discussion here? Roll call.
Dan Sheik,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Mark Vance,
Yes.
Jeff Going,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard.
Yes. Resolution 2025-02, appointment of his attorney passes.
Welcome back.
Moving on, number 5, discussion, discuss or approve resolution 2025-03, a resolution appointing the command associates as village engineer for the village of Poplar Grove.
Motion to discuss.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
by Owen. Any discussion here? Roll call, please.
We just want to discuss.
It says, let's discuss to approve. Roll call.
Mark Vance,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard, Olga Costanza,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Abstain.
Dan Sheik,
Yes.
Dave Allgood.
Yes.
Resolution 2025-03, appointing McMahon Associates, is passed. Number 6, discuss and approve resolution 2025-04, resolution of the Village of Poplar Grove, Illinois, appointing certain village officers.
Second.
Motion by Owen. Second by Dave. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Olga Costanza,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Mark Vance,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard, Dan Sheik.
Yes.
Resolution 2025-04 is passed. Number 7, discuss and approve ordinance 2025-04, ordinance of the Village of Poplar Grove, Illinois, amending Title 1, Chapter 5, Section 1-51 of the Village of Poplar Grove Code of Ordinances regarding meetings of the Village Board of Trustees.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dave. Second by Owen. Any discussion here?
What are we changing?
We're changing,
Third and fourth.
we're going from the second and fourth instead of the third. So we'll have a week in between. Question, discussion?
It was nice to get the packets on Friday. Why is it Friday?
Okay, roll call, please.
Michelle.
Dan Sheik,
Yes.
Mark Vance,
Yes.
Olga Costanza,
Yes.
David Allgood,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard.
Ordinance 2025-04 passes. Number 8, discussion and approve resolution 2025-05, a resolution of the Village of Poplar Grove, Illinois, to approve the meeting schedule for the village board meetings for 2025.
So moved. Yeah, this one's got a couple of discussions, so, all right, hold on. So this is the schedule that basically would reflect the change from the second and third to second and fourth Wednesdays of the month. What you see here is 2 dates in November and December that are highlighted in red. Obviously, that is the week of Thanksgiving and that is the week of Christmas. So the board needs to decide what they'd like to do with those 2 particular dates.
So do the second, third for December and the second, third. Sure. For November. Is that possible?
Anything's possible. Things are just not problem.
What was it? Just want to move them.
Second, third to November, for November, December.
Yeah, so we're gonna leave it, those.
We're just moving a week earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Back to the old schedule.
Back to you.
that's perfectly logical.
What the board would like to do.
Yes, sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Our office might have a problem, with the third, which is why we originally didn't move it to the fourth, because we have coverage.
Normally, that time of year, I don't have a whole lot of ordinances going on.
And not even need legal.
And not even meeting, who knows?
We'll accommodate you, sir.
So,
You can phone in.
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Here, I got some text messages that YouTube's not working.
I got the same text messages, I don't know why. It's, we're talking about it later.
I understand. I just wanted to-
All right, so right now, the consensus then is to leave those two at the second and third, Wednesdays of the month.
Now, Aaron, we got a consensus for P and Z to be moved. Can we just amend it this, or do I need another resolution?
Do we, do all the members, or just, when you're saying Jessica and can make it, but do we know if the actual CBA, rest of the CBA members can make it on that day? But it might still get blown out. If not one can make it on this day.
So we'll do that one.
Do it separately.
Separate, okay.
But if you guys want to change, the November 26th and the December 24th, to the second Wednesday of the month, you guys want to make a motion now to make that amendment, because right now you have this as presented, it's the motion to approve it as written.
So you're looking November 19th and December 17th.
So do we need a motion to change those dates?
So specific date.
I'd like to make a motion to change to November 17th date,
19th.
19th, yep. And then December
17th.
17th.
Motion by Mark,
I'll second.
second by Dave. Okay, so can we roll call vote on just the change of the amendment, please?
Mark Vance,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Dan Sheik,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard,
Yes.
Dave Allgood.
Yes.
Amendment has been made to schedule. Now we need to vote on the actual resolution as amended.
So moved. I'm sorry, roll call.
Mark Vance,
Yes.
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Dan Sheik,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard.
So, resolution 2025 amended passes. So, number 9, discuss, approve resolution 2025-06, a resolution of the Village of Poplar Grove, Illinois, resolving to accept the quotes from Sable Mechanical LLC for FLYFT 3085 pump repairs.
Move to approve resolution 2025-06.
Motion by Owen,
Second.
second by Dave.
So, quick background on these are pumps that we replaced in the last budget cycle. When they pulled them out, Sable went through all of these pumps, and these are ones that they deem can be repaired and therefore used as backups in those locations. So I and Jason had put together a quote. These are all ones then that Sable would repair, and we will have on hand as backups in case of pump failure at our lift stations.
And if I recall, we currently don't have any backups, that's what we.
I think
Did you get one done?
we have one on hand right now for collection point as a backup. But for the rest of
How
them,
many collection points?
lift stations, 6, 7? Six.
Perfect.
I believe, if I remember right, this was 4 or 5 pumps collectively to be repaired.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6.
So about 30 grand.
We cover all of those lists.
It's 30, oh wait, hold on, sorry. Yeah, yeah, it was like 33,000.
So this, give or take, yes.
Oh, right here, $33,605.20.
What is the, do we know what the failure rate of these pumps are? Or life cycle of these pumps?
Chris, you wanna weigh in on that one?
I mean, typically when you put a pump in the ground, you can expect to get maybe 5 to 7 years out of it before you gotta do some maintenance, pull it, make sure the balloon's clear. You know, a life of a pump, you can usually count on 20 years. I've got a couple lift stations in the ground that I put in 20 years ago and they're just fine. Actually, one of them's here is a stormwater lift station that we salvaged from another municipality and ended up reusing. But that doesn't run as much as a sanitary lift station. One of the things, I'm just thinking, listening to your discussion, even if you don't have a backup pump and something goes down, you don't have any real way to get that water out unless you call Collins. We've been out here, I remember that July 3rd rainfall where we had, it was like 9 inches almost in the southern end of the village, and Mitch and I were out here till 3 o'clock in the morning. We had Collins out there. I mean, if we had a pump fail during that, we would have been dead in the water. I mean, we'd have had people with a lot of water in their basements, so.
A lot of people.
Yeah, so, I mean, in my opinion, this is a very good thing to do, to have backups on hand where you can drop them into a lift station. It's not that hard to change a pump out.
Also depends on where it is. We've got some areas in the village, we don't know why, they just collect a lot of grease and rags and towels. Chris is still trying to find out who has that toilet that flushes some of these towels. We found wood, chunks of wood in some of them. So it just depends on where it is and how it's getting abused.
The serviceability of the pump comes into play too. I mean, there's obviously more durable pumps than others. But I think over the years, at least during our tenure here, the village has generally changed out to, high commercial service duty pumps. So I don't think that's an issue anymore. When we first started, there were a number of pumps that were just, go to Farm and Barn and buy a pump and throw it in the hole.
Yeah.
Those are all gone now.
Any questions? Need a roll call, please.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Dan Sheik,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard,
Yes.
Alan Costanza,
Yes.
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Mark Vance.
Yes.
Resolution 2025-06, for accepting the quotes for Sable Mechanical and pump repairs is passed. Number 10, discuss and approve resolution 2025-07, resolution of the Village of Poplar Grove, Illinois, resolving to accept a quote from Chicago Audio and Video Design LLC for meeting room equipment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Owen.
So we have discussed the audio video in here ad nauseum. I reached out to quite a few different audio video companies. Some were not very interested in doing this type of property, commercial property. I eventually met with Chicago Audio Video, Primetime Audio, and another. They lost their commercial installer, and we're no longer going to be able to proceed with the quote. Primetime adjusted a quote that they provided us about a year and a half ago now during a walkthrough. That one came in a little higher than where we're at now. Katie and I walked through with Chicago Audio Video. We were very impressed with what he had to say. One of the key differences between him and the other companies was this YouTube setup was a quality setup. Some of the soundboard, speakers, microphones, that type of stuff is definitely outdated and needs to be replaced. But he did insist that with some tweaking in the programming, this setup would not have to be replaced. In Primetime's quote, they were planning on replacing this setup for the streaming. He did not feel that was necessary. At the end of the day, he came in, Gary, scroll down on my paper.
30 grand.
Around 30 grand. Where Primetime ended up quoting around 36 or 38,000 for the total package. He was very confident that with the upgrades, we would no longer have the backbeat issues, the streaming issues, and the mic issues that we've experienced over the last few years.
kind of guarantee come with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my question, yeah.
I don't know, I'd have to go back and pick them.
This quote that we have, they're unable to fulfill.
What's that?
This quote from Chicago, audio video, you said they're not able to.
No, they are. They are. So the reason that there wasn't 3 quotes provided, the third company that I had working on a quote, they were unable to continue working on that. They lost the one person that did their like government commercial style rooms, and he just didn't have the confidence that they'd be able to put something together. And even if they did, to be able to do it in a timely manner.
Okay. And we
So
only
the
have-
Prime Time and Chicago Audio Video were ultimately the 2 that were able to come out, meet with me, do a walkthrough, and actually provide the quote.
Okay, that was gonna be my other question, did they actually come and walk through
Yes.
everything?
Yes.
So prime time quote we don't have, but is it the same equipment except for the YouTube setup that you said?
Same
That
general
is
setup,
optional?
new speakers, new wiring, new soundboard. And then they wanted to replace this computer and camera and setup back here. So that was included in that, which Primetime did say, and there's that you could go through and remove certain items. But at the end of the day, I believe this quote would better service our needs. The other thing that Chicago Audio Video committed to was taking this computer. If you guys been back in the cubicle area, that computer's up on the wall right here. He suggested streamlining everything, getting rid of the soundboard and microphone connections underneath up here, and getting rid of that, putting it all back in that back room, kind of simplifying the entire setup, removing a bunch of wiring. The other consensus opinion that these companies have had when I've talked to them, we have too much old overlapping wiring that is causing a lot of that feedback. He was adamant, simplify everything, get it back there, shorten up runs, install new speakers and install new microphones, and we should be good to go.
Yeah, I heard what you said, and I've got a suggestion. I would move to amend approving this, getting a 6-month warranty on labor, ensuring it works.
We should.
Well, we need,
ask for
it's not working right now.
Right, but I'm saying, we should ask them for we should find out what they're giving to us first.
I'm saying what we need to guarantee be.
Well, let's see what they offer first, because they're gonna try to sell you an extended warranty.
No, what about an extended warranty?
I know.
6 month, the YouTube's not working right now.
I know.
We're gonna hear calls all month over this.
On the YouTube itself, part of the issue, again, that there was a consensus from all these companies on, we have bandwidth from about 20 years ago
Right.
on our internet. So that is the next step in this process, which Trustee, Carrie and I have started looking at. We need new internet up here. We are running internet that, I think, what they say,
64.
yeah, where
Megabytes per second.
it doesn't matter what we have as far as quality of camera or anything like that. Our bandwidth just can't support it. That was something that both Primetime, Chicago Audio Video, and audio engineers agreed on. We don't have the bandwidth to support the setup we were given.
But,
So why don't we do this then, since you're bringing it up, why don't we get the internet upgraded first and see how things work? Before we go.
We're still
spending
gonna have-
I get it, but let's just see. Before.
I'm going to tell you right now, we will still have the microphone issues. We will still have the feedback issues.
People can't hear me on the YouTube
You
channel.
gotta talk into it.
No, it doesn't
It
work.
doesn't work.
He's not, Jeff,
It's all-
I'm listening.
he's not coming through the speaker right now.
Okay,
When you speak in your microphone, that speaker is massive feedback.
so these are.
Those issues were going on prior to the YouTube.
How old are these mics, David? These were during COVID. COVID money.
Was it COVID? Yes.
So how many times has this company been out here to try to get these working properly?
We've had this setup reworked to my knowledge 4 different times, and it is,
Then let me ask you this, 4 different times we've had this company out here, why are they not?
I don't know if it was the company that did the installation. I cannot speak to that. We've had Primetime look at it. We had the guy that did the YouTube,
He said. she's
and we've
gonna
had
be
PC Tech look at it, and we've never had the issue resolved. So 3 different organizations have attempted to fix this, and we've not had it resolved.
Question, who installed these? PC Tech, Gary said. So why isn't PC Tech here taking care of these?
They've attempted, it has not worked.
Then they need to refund us or give us a credit for a better system that's gonna work what they said that they could put in here and make work for our boardroom like the original quotes. We're letting them
We
take
can
advantage of
absolutely, we
us.
can absolutely try that. I do
I
not
think
do
we
that.
should. Well, then we can't do business with them.
Honestly, that's been a thought I've had.
And you should tell them that, hey, the board's upset that you've been here 4 times. This is what you originally put in. We paid you for these and they're still not working 4 times. Isn't there like a limit law or something in that aspect? It's just cars only?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I mean,
But I would be up to you.
again, we've had PC Tech out to do computer work, and 2 weeks later, they're doing it again.
Then why do we keep calling them?
Encore's 4 times as much, we have.
I have raised that
Pay a
concern.
little more for a better service.
I didn't buy it right.
No,
I'm
I
not
know.
talking about Encore, I'm talking about this one.
I know, but
I would like to make a motion to amend approving this, because we need to get something done. Because by the time we do all this other stuff, so my motion to amend this is we'll accept this quote with a 6-month labor guarantee and a 12-month parts and labor.
Oh, and can I look really quick through my email to see if there is a warranty on this?
I mean,
the guy would be like, okay, I told you a year, but okay, you want 6 months, I'll give you 6 months. That's why you shouldn't say nothing.
well, 6
And then
months,
David,
that's
see what it is.
12 meetings, we should figure out whether it works or not by then.
Well, I think we should be a PC Techs, you know what, to get them out here and either get some of our money back, or we're gonna tell them that we just can't do business, and if we keep calling them for their service, and they keep coming back to fix the same issues that they're here to fix, but I wouldn't be calling that
It
company
is
anymore.
100% not been my choice to continue to use PC Tech.
Whose choice is it?
The board approved those contracts, yeah.
It is not my choice. I
I
have
don't know,
raised
you
this
said you've been out
concern.
here twice.
I have raised this complaint.
David, do you have any of those in your email?
I'm trying to go through it.
I think first step, we should get the internet upgraded.
That is, we are attempting to get that done.
I would do that first before we do it, let anyone touch anything. Let's upgrade the internet, get a terabyte, whatever speed you guys need, you need something fast. Cause 64, I have
That's
200
what we're-
megabyte in my home.
We are working on a terabyte. It'll be on the first meeting of next month. By the time this work would be even started, we will have the new internet.
And who are we gonna do the new internet with? Are we getting it from both?
It'll be on
Comcast?
the next month meeting.
It'll be the next month's meeting
Yes.
between all 3 of them?
I'm making a motion to accept this unless you found a warranty, David.
I'm
We need
trying
get
to
done. It's Mike's
stay-
over. We've gone back and forth. on this
Listen,
for 2
did you hear what you
years.
just said, Owen?
Yeah.
You just said, we're gonna get you, the service will be in for this will even start. So
That's
what is
not-
the big deal to hold this over
That's
for one
not going to
month?
fix these months.
Because not unlike every other contract of service, if we continue to wait, then it's gonna get delayed and it'll be November before the guy can get out.
We waited
This
almost 2
quote is
years.
only
last
good
time.
till May 30th.
Well, everyone was falling back.
You were
on
one of the
that.
ones that asked me to obtain these.
I did.
Guys,
I
Point
did
of
it.
order,
Approve it or don't.
point of
we have a
order.
motion on the table from Owen to accept this amended with a 6-month labor warranty and a 12-month parts warranty.
Could I ask Owen to amend the amendment and say 6 months minimum?
Sure.
Cause that
I'll
way if
change
it's
that.
more,
I'll change
yeah, cause that way if it's more,
It's more.
then we get more, right? So.
Yeah, I'm not
6 month
seeing a
minimum.
specific warranty in his quote, so I will reach out to him tomorrow.
So 6 month minimum,
They really don't.
on
warranty
labor.
their Parts and labor, but I think they try when they come back, but
Okay.
I mean, we've had that experience, so.
Well, just,
We have a-
just a buzz. So the deposit's only 20. And upon completion's 10. So technically, we could hold that 10 if it ain't working.
But now we're telling them, we're accepting this is
Yeah, I agree.
This is what we expect.
I want some kind of
Why don't you
guarantee.
why don't you let,
There is a $10,000 hold.
Correct, it's 65% and then 10, or the balance on.
Right, right now we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Dave. Now we are, we are voting on just the amendment. Roll call, please.
Mark Vance,
yes.
Jeff Goings,
no,
Dave Allgood,
Yes,
Sine Hubbard, Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Dan Sheets.
Yes.
Okay, so So the amendment passes with the warranty amendments. Now we need a roll call on the amended contract resolution.
Mark Vance,
Yes.
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Absolutely not.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard.
The amended resolution passes. Discuss and approve resolution 2025-08, a resolution of the Village of Poplar Grove, Illinois, authorizing trustee Jeff Goings as chairperson of the Finance and Public Works Committee, Chrissy Richardson as village president, Carrie Miller as village clerk, and Katie Jaster as deputy clerk to perform necessary village banking functions.
Motion to discuss approved resolution 2025-08.
Second.
By Dave, I heard a second by Mark. Any questions on this? Roll call, please.
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Mark Vance,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard, Dan Cheek.
Yes.
Resolution 2025-08 passes. Number 12. Discussion approve ordinance 2025-05, an ordinance of the Village of Poplar Grove, amending the ordinance 2023-20 to allow hens in residential areas and to delete the sunset outlined in ordinance 2023-20.
Move to approve ordinance 2025-05.
Second.
Second by Mark. Any discussion on this item?
Only removing the sunset, it's not adjusting any parameters of the ordinance, correct?
Yes, if you want to adjust anything, it's got to go to P and Z first.
So this is not changing
No.
anything in the original ordinance, just removing the sunset clause?
Yes.
Right, and it becomes a permanent ordinance. Which we've had 0 complaints, 0 calls, 0.
I've had 3 notice of violations sent on chickens. Two,
Yeah. this is the
Same.
first time.
Huh?
This is the first time I've ever been.
I can go get you all 3. They're in my office.
Okay, I'm asking you.
Over the 18 months, we've had 3. 2 have decided not just to remove their hens. 1 has turned in. I can show you the pictures. It is not inclusive for hens. We denied them. They're not coming in compliance. Now, 3 over 5,000 people village is minimal, but I just want to be completely honest with everyone that we have had 3.
What can we learn aware of this?
Question,
Who would like-
were any of the 3 complaints from the same individual?
That I don't know. I just know that there were 3 different homes that had chickens that did not get permits.
Oh, they got
Oh,
it.
So they weren't my pilot people.
They were your pilot people.
Okay, I was like, come on, Nick, Terry.
I'm sorry, I misspoke on that, no. 1 has applied to be one of the pilot people, we denied them. They had tarps over their food.
No, I can't do that.
We can't, and they still have tarps over their food.
So these are just
Right.
violations outside
Of the.
of the ordinance altogether.
Yes.
Be like somebody like a stop work order is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're involved in the program.
The major violation was that they put hens in without,
Yes.
not,
Yes.
okay, so they just put them in without, that's different than.
Correct. Okay.
So I guess my question was more focused on, have we had complaints from regarding anybody that was on the original pilot program?
No.
So we got 0 residential complaints from anybody, against anybody on the pilot program.
No,
Thank you.
Sine?
Are we maxed out at the 15?
no.
No,
Okay.
how many do we have? We have, I believe, 5. I had 6 and 1 moved out of state.
So we're gonna keep it at 15?
So usually we'll allow.
It's no remove the sunset, so.
Yeah.
I think if it goes up, it should come back to us. we get to 15, and there's people are asking,
Yes.
we should discuss it, review
Well,
it.
that's my question.
Yeah, so I mean, this just removes the sunset.
So we're just gonna keep it at 15, and then if it gets up to 15 people that apply, then it'll come back to us to allow it to like 25 or 30 left. Does that make sense, Amy?
Any other questions?
Well, that way it's open to anyone that applies throughout the whole building.
We're not changing the ordinance.
We're not changing
We're
the
doing the
ordinance.
sunset, that's it.
Right, we're just
Everything
removing
else
the
stays
pilot
the same.
program. Pilot program is over, once we vote on it. Now it's an ordinance, and it's still allowed up to 15. If we reach that 15, they'll come back into the board and we'll raise it. As long as everyone's good.
Roll call vote, please. Dave Allgood,
Yeah.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Jeff Going,
Yes.
Mark Vance,
Yes.
Renee Hubbard,
Yeah.
Dan Sheet.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025 -05, removing the sunset clause on the chicken program, passes.
Thank you for all of the, information.
You're welcome. Thank you guys.
A nice
She
job
worked
on
hard.
the program.
She worked hard on
Nice
that.
job.
Number 13, discuss and approve sickage agreement.
Move the approved signature agreement.
Second.
Motion by Owen, second by Dave.
Question.
Yes, Dan?
I was looking to the bills, I really didn't see any. Do we have a monthly average of what we've been doing with them? I'm blind and look back, maybe I missed it. I didn't see anything.
I think they've given us a bill, I saw one bill for like $3,000.
Since
Yeah,
the
we've been
last
on-
2 months.
I'm gonna try and use them right now for payroll. What this is for is to make sure that we can go into year end. We
Yeah.
need assistance.
Yeah, I'm just curious, if we had any idea what we're putting out, but if it's $3,000 for 2 months instead of roughly?
Yeah.
We'll just call it 15 a month, doable.
I mean, they're gonna help with the audit, they're gonna work with Lauterbach and Hop, and.
Yeah, like I said, I couldn't find any info on the payments and on the bills and just curious. Way better answer than I thought I was gonna hear.
Any other questions, discussion?
I'm just curious, I know they're helping with the audit, but it says other kinds of services. Are you planning on anything additional?
Well, so when, year end, they'll give us general entries at the end of the year too, so they may help us in general ledger work to make sure that we're in compliance with everything at the end of the year. So it's just that kind of general accounting.
So we're gonna use them as our backup treasurer.
The longer term plan is to resolve the treasurer issue, but, so this is a short term solution right now. Any other questions?
Roll call. Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Jeff Going,
Yes.
Mark Vance,
Yes.
Renee Hubbard,
Yes.
Dan Sheet.
Yes.
So the signature agreement can be implemented and passed. Number 14, discuss and approve Dorner quote to replace valve and actuator for the SBR2 at the North Plant.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Owen. Second by Dave.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't have a whole lot of information on this one. This is what Ion was coming to discuss. He's not here. However, it is a valve in our SBR2 tank, south plant. To my knowledge and from what I understand, it is damaged and currently stuck open and needs to be replaced. Dorner is who does 95% of the work on those items down at the plants. That's who they reached out to get these quotes. Unfortunately, like I said, that's kind of all I have on this one. It is a damaged valve and actuator that needs to be replaced.
Here in the Midwest, we don't have any.
Yeah. I mean, Sable and Dorner do
So everybody
pretty
knows
much everything at once for us.
when it comes to a lot of these things we do, like this, there's only,
Is a donor out of Wisconsin?
Yes,
Roll.
Sussex.
Yeah, they're out of
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Questions, discussion?
No, there.
Roll call, please.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard,
Yeah.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Jeff Going,
Yes.
Dan Sheet,
Yes.
Dave Albert.
Yeah.
Donner quote to replace the valve after pass. Item 15, discuss and approve check disbursement for payment scheduled to be paid before May 15th, 2025, the amount of $96,911.66 in AP checks, $17,148.25 in insurance expense checks, $27,915.42 in EFTs, and $20,651.32 in payroll for a grand total of $665, sorry.
Move to approve checks totaling $162,626.65.
Motion by Owen,
Second.
Dave,
Just so the board's aware, we are going to have a check disbursement for every meeting. Because the way the bills fall, and now that we're on the 2nd and 4th, we're gonna have to do some of the regular Comcast, ComEd, credit card, NICOR at the first meeting, and then all those ones that come in after at the 4th meeting. So even, we started it this month, even for the next meeting next week, you'll see another check disbursement.
And just remember to Sinead and Mark, if there's anything you want to know, any question about anything that you catch and you don't doesn't think look right, reach out to Christie or reach out to Carrie or reach out to Heidi. And if there's any questions you have, please ask, so that you can start familiarizing yourself. And you can call and ask her what's the total we spend on utilities, a month. It's around $35,000 a month just for street lighting. There's any questions like that you want to know, and start educating yourself. Send some emails, and she's really good at responding and really good at answering questions. And if she doesn't know, she'll reach out to who does know the answers for you guys. But David's you as well, but he was trusted before. So,
questions, discussion? Roll call.
Jeff Going,
yes.
Dan Sheet,
Yes.
Sine Hubbard,
Yeah.
Owen Costanza,
Yes.
Dave Allgood,
Yes.
Mark Vance.
Yes.
The motion to disperse checks in a total of $162,626.65 Number 16, just a discussion item on committee of the whole meetings.
Move to discuss.
Motion by Owen, second by Dave. Start, Owen?
Yeah, let's do it. And then can we take off this discussion? I know the other people didn't understand that. We always just moved to approve and then discussed it and then.
You just want me to go back to the motion to approve?
Whatever you see.
Yes. Please. Be in the affirmative and then we do the negative.
So let's talk about it.
The whole meetings, this way, we can all discuss the ordinances and board can get back to work. Things can start flowing from the board in the opposite way.
Can you describe it so that Sinead and Mark knew how that worked before?
Well, we had, finance committee and then an admin committee, and there were three of us. And then the chairs would each, we used to have whole meetings just for finance, our whole meetings just for administration. But then we got everything narrowed down, finally got all the ordinances rewritten, and then we were combining the meetings. But the finance chair would start off, this is what we need to change, this is what we need to do, and then go to the admin chair. We discuss how we want it, the lawyers would put it together, and the next meeting, 2 weeks from then we had an ordinance, where we worked on it, some more, got more information.
I'm gonna disagree. I think this is nice that we're gonna do 2 meetings a month. We'd be going back to 4 meetings a month. We have those presidents can have office hours. She's gonna handle a lot of this, so it's gonna be necessary for us to come in for 2 more meetings. We get a lot of stuff done here with the 2 meetings that we're having.
I'm not saying 2 more meetings, I'm saying we take that first meeting, and we have our committee during that
We
first
can't do
meeting.
that with the bills.
Can't.
Cannot
Can
do
you do
that
the
with
bills first or the second?
Both. You,
You'll have utility bills and basic bills at the beginning, and then you'll have that second round.
Because of the due date, so we're not incurring any charges for late fees.
I mean, these trustees sitting here didn't run to just not do anything, but sit here and say yes or no. So I'd like to see trustees get involved. I don't know if we have to have an extra meetings. Maybe we can do it before. We used to do that too.
What Owen described had worked fine for several years. I mean, there were 2 meetings a month. One meeting was the committee of the whole, and one meeting was the meeting of the village trustees. And during that meeting for the committee of the whole, this is where all the business discussion took place. And this allowed all of the trustees to take that next, because the following meeting was 7 days later, gave them 7 days to digest what had been talked about in that committee of the whole, and then to either approve or disapprove of it at that following meeting. So it was a meeting talking about the content, and then a meeting to either approve or disapprove. And it had a little bit of time in there for everybody to be able to sit down and kind of digest what's going on.
Think of it as a whiteboard.
Right, so some of the conversations tonight could have been held in a committee of the whole. Then people could have done more research over the next week, and then there could have been the motion to vote on it the following meeting.
Jeff, I understand meeting fatigue, trust me, I do. But I do think that it is valuable for us to have these discussions, and I would like to see, committees reinstated, or that's just my thoughts.
I'm just making sure, because Dan.
So you got the packet on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You did it 7 days now.
Oh,
We used to get it 3 days.
We had no.
But she just said we can't take action if we have a committee of the whole. You wanna do it earlier then?
Sure. 6 o'clock. I mean, we had no input on any of this, because that's more questions and not taking up everybody's time.
I think we did damn good. You had 17 items and we're less than an hour.
Yeah,
Good
that's
job.
great.
Aaron, I'd like to ask a question for clarification, please. I was under the impression and understanding that if we had started as a committee of the whole, that you could come in and out of the committee of the whole to pass business if it was necessary.
So
Is that or not, is that true or not true?
it's up to how you want to write your ordinances governing committees. There, but, oops, sorry. Just can't speak into it.
That was another one that goes in.
So I think as far as how you guys operate your committee of the wholes, it's however you choose that, and we can write the ordinance to do that. There, I think if the concern is, if we're trying to marry the concept of a council, a regular board meeting where you can take a vote on something, and then a committee meeting where you're just discussing items there, I think it can be accomplished enough where, you know, that we can draft it such that the meeting is probably just a regular village board meeting, right? Okay, but with the understanding that at the first meeting of the month, you're gonna see a lot of just discuss on this, right? You know, discuss, and then you could still, because we're still gonna title it a village board meeting, that then there could be at the very end, approve bills. You know, and if that's the understanding, if that's, everyone's okay with that, we can craft the ordinance that way. So say that, hey, this is generally still a village board meeting, because we're gonna take action. But the practice is gonna be that it's only the bills that are gonna get approved, everything else is gonna show up on the agenda as just discussion items. That way, everyone can hash things out, you know, everyone's gonna have time to digest it for, the next 2 weeks now, there, because we're going to second and fourth, there, and then vote on it at the second meeting. So,
Didn't you specify that it was 3 and 3, so it's not everybody?
We had teams that way, and then we would hand off. So the admin chair would have 3 people that they would talk to each other about one-on-one. And then that, hey, we discussed this, you know, one-on-one, decide what does everybody think about this, and the finance chair would do the same thing within that meeting, and get handed off. I believe it was Ron and Bob Fry. Ron was in charge of the parks, which falls under that.
I was admin, Bob Fry was finance.
Yeah, so we handed off in those meetings. I mean, I don't know that we had, we were just, go to the committee chairs, discuss things like.
So, sorry. But you're looking at having this as a committee of whole, conceptually as a committee of whole, in the sense that all six trustees would be here. So, yeah, all 6 people would be here, but maybe the chairperson of each would kind of chair their respective portions of the discussion.
And then we could break up into teams and, you know, hey, how do we do this?
So what does the village president do?
Chairs the meeting.
No.
So I chair the chairs.
Right now, Christie's got all the information. She's doing a lot.
Dan?
So, this is the way it was when my last term when it first started. For you guys, Sine and Mark, who haven't done this before, basically, that second meeting, it's in, you're in, you're done. You've already done all your discussion, you've done your research, you come in, you're basically voting to approve or not approve that agenda. You've already done everything in advance. We sat here, it might be one long meeting. I mean, yeah, it could be potentially long, the next meeting might be 15 minutes. So, is there payoff? Yeah, because the next meeting's gonna be short. Yeah, you gotta sit, but you get a lot of talking done. You get a lot of subjects covered. Just, we started out early. We didn't start at 6. We started at 4.
Yeah,
We started at 6. I don't know if that's feasible for everybody. But we got a lot accomplished. And like I said, that next meeting, boom, 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 you're in, you're out. And you did, like you said, you had a week, Dave, I believe it was. You had a week to sit there and get on Google and research everything. And you didn't have just a weekend to bang it out on a packet and try to get as, much time in researching this stuff when it is your weekend. Instead of having a full week to digest, and that was the perfect way to put it, to digest it and get a better feel for what's going on. You'd be able to time to ask questions to the chairs throughout the week, questions to Public Works or, you've met them yet probably, but you have a longer time to reach out to the department heads and everyone else and the chairs to get the information you need because, we're all green at one time. And it's great for green trustees, it honestly is, because you have that time to reach out to other trustees, reach out to your chairs and get the information that you still don't know yet. It's a good learning tool as well for, like I said, green trustees.
Mark, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I like the idea of having that thought, so we could use the first meeting to kind of culminate the ideas, or discuss, until everybody has that understanding or final disagreement. I like that. I'm not so sure how I see the teams, though. I would really like to keep the whole board moving the same direction rather than breaking out.
There used to be 3 of us on admin and 3 of us on finance.
I just think, for me being a new person wanting to learn, I kind of want to absorb it and step through each piece of it, rather than be stuck on a team or whatever. I'd rather have the
So
whole board.
everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, I like that. I like the transparency there. So I'm open to doing that, as long as we can still get our business done as far as, the payments, checks cut, in a timely manner on both meetings, right? So we could just, as our lawyer, suggested, maybe use the first meeting for that vetting process, and then we vote our payments, and then the second meeting to approve, as Dan said, get the business done. We've already had the discussion, and then vote on our payment checks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, and maybe I have seen this in another municipality that I worked at, where, first and second rates, we could do that, so you're seeing something twice. And if it's an emergency, like the disabled pumps, right, just take those for example, if that was an emergency, you could waive your second read. You could do that, then you still have that discussion, you still have that 2 weeks to
look over, the things that were presented to you at this meeting and then approve it at the next one. That might be a compromise.
Yeah, and the emergencies, like you said, we can take those on a case by case, I'm sure the staff and the president's gonna know about those emergencies, and we can take those by case as we need it, if it happened to fall on the first meeting. But, if there's an emergency, we gotta vote something, or talk and discuss about something, we gotta get it done, so.
There are emergency procedures in place for an actual emergency. Those guys will call around and get consensus and just vote on that during the meetings.
Sure.
But I mean, we should have a whiteboarding session, I mean, and we kind of tried to do that, last year, and that's how we ended up with, like, Dan took on the texting app. Dan did that. Jeff took on checking the ice machine or the water machine at Pacemaker. We split tasks up amongst ourselves. It's just a whiteboarding session. This is coming from.
It sounds like everybody's in agreement that they would like to have the fruitful discussion and then time to digest that discussion, ask questions, and then come to the table and approve or disapprove.
I'm open to that working with the fact that it still has to remain an actual meeting, so that what I've noticed thus far, based on how things are coming into the office that need to get on agendas, there's always gonna be 1 or 2 items that have to be voted on because of the nature of what they are and the timelines.
Yep.
So this would allow that ability to kind of decide. The first meeting is a more of a discussionary type meeting versus specifically breaking out into some sort of a team. Aaron?
So I think the concept that Carrie mentioned actually could accomplish all of it there. So both meetings are village board meetings. Every topic, whether it's resolution or ordinance, right, would show up at the first meeting as a first read, right? So that's the first read just means you get to talk about it, right? At the end of the sixth first read, then you can motion, say, okay, we're gonna move this forward to second read or something like that, right? Or it's gonna carry over to second read at the second meeting. If you're not ready, if there's a bunch of discussion and there has to be homework done, then you say, okay, we're gonna keep it on for first read again, that we're not gonna move it to second read, whatever. But it allows everyone to talk about it, and you have to go through first read on everything before you get to second read. Second read is then when you're actually gonna vote on it, and then, that would typically then happen at the second read on everything. But at least then in the emergency situation, hey, this is on for first read, approving the Sable, whatever, but it's an emergency, we have to do it now, there's time sensitive, okay, we can waive parliamentarian rules, you can say, we're gonna waive first read, move straight to second read, and vote it through. We can put the bills on there still and vote, because it's still a regular board meeting, but we're using the first and second read concept to accomplish the committee discussion.
Didn't we just motion discussion, no action before when we did this? We had the committee of the whole.
We had discussion topics.
If I should motion, I thought it was discussion, no action.
It was discussion, possible recommendation to the village board.
We grew the ordinance,
That was
having
worded.
having time to think about it rather than here, we were able to room that ordinance, and, okay, this is what we'd like to see, this is what we'd like to see too, rather than, sitting it here.
We're not taking action on it.
The video thing, if we would have discussed this, at a meeting like that, we could have said, hey, I'd like to see, guaranteed we're gonna fix this stuff. Something.
So can I make a motion just to start at 6 o'clock instead of 7? So we're going to start at 6 o'clock. Meetings will not be 6 o'clock instead of 7. And then more discussion. So I'll make a motion to change our village meetings to 6
You
p.m.
can't,
Why not?
because it's not on the agenda, so you can't take action.
Well, I know, but this is basically what we're doing. We're just moving that meeting an hour earlier.
I didn't hear it that way.
We have to be here at 6 to have discussion, no? Isn't that what was, that's what we said?
I'd like to be here at 6.
He
We
would
can
like
do
to
that next meeting.
Oh, I thought you, You wanted to be here at 6.
Our old committees were at 6.
Our meeting
Basically
with
what
us,
we're doing is just changing that village board meeting.
I would love to see the first meeting at 6 and give us some time to, whatever we want to discuss on here, whatever's going to be the first read. And then give direction, and then we have time to think about it or change our minds. Hey, I researched this, I didn't like it. I looked at this village, I didn't like it. I mean, in the past, we split up. I mean, Chrissy and I split up, hey, you call these villages, I'm gonna call these villages, and let's group back and put it together.
Can we split the difference and say 6:30?
No, 6 or nothing.
We can't make that motion yet. We have to.
I know, I'm just, because I know it's discussion.
I can't make that.
Throwing it out there.
I do that, but I said,
We can split the difference.
meeting at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
So it looks like there's a consensus to move to some sort of platform that offers the first meeting as more of a discussionary option, with the second meeting to be more of action taking. So I think what we should do is, try to set up the next meeting kind of like that and see kind of what happens, and then we can see if it works or not.
I'm good with that.
Is that?
You talking the 11th?
Yeah, so we'll structure that
I was like,
as a little bit more, before we get into changing times and other
Right.
things. We'll
See
kind of
how it
see how it goes first, and then we can continue to tweak it till we're all happy with it.
Yep.
Aaron?
Yeah, before when I served 7 o'clock, always seemed to be fine. We're gonna get into a rhythm. And having more than an hour and 11 minutes to run through the agenda and make decisions on something that you've been, say, blindly presented to. You haven't been, we see the agenda paperwork, but we don't have the opportunity to question it. That's why I call it blind. So, at that point, these things are still, if we were doing it at 7 o'clock, it's still moving through these things very efficiently. This conversation's taken 15 minutes longer than if we had simply said, let's do a first read, second read for approval, regular board meetings, anything coming from the finance chair regarding finances get to be paid at either meeting. Emergency will be handled exactly the same way ordinances were. We'd be done 15 minutes.
I was just gonna say, ultimately, if you guys wanna kind of do a test run and just do it, where the next couple of meetings, where as we kind of discussed right now, and then ultimately, if it is working out, we should probably memorialize it in ordinance, form, and then we're gonna create first read, whatever it is. But if you have any units problem, it's not memorializing it. in
Right.
So-
ordinance form.
So would it be,
Wait,
would it be fair to make a motion to have a 1 month trial run?
well, right now,
We
we're
don't
doing
need
this
to-
discussion, we've come to a consensus, so we're gonna just do that.
Sure.
Taking it for a test drive.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Jeff?
So if we do this, I'd be okay with it, but we should put a limit to how many items on the agenda, say like 10. What?
We have to approve all things.
Well, I know, but we should,
And that's what the
and I understand the first couple are gonna be full. But you
meeting
should
is
start-
for. Remember, we always get upset because somebody added something without telling us, and all of a sudden there were, 15 items instead of 10.
Well,
Yeah,
everybody,
and to be fair, this particular agenda, as I said in an email to everyone, it is significantly longer than what I would prefer in general,
right,
just because the nature of what the transition is right now, so. But I think we just test out and see how things go and then continue to tweak,
right.
okay? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 14.
Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah.